Are you seeking fulfillment for your life? Do you want freedom from fear? That's why we're here. Welcome to Jesus 101, introducing you to the real Jesus. And now, here's your host, Elizabeth Talbot.
Hello everyone, Elizabeth Talbot here. Welcome to Jesus 101. We are so excited that you have joined us. We are in a new series entitled The Battle is the Lord's. We're going to review 12 different battles that show us who God is and what He has done for you, and why you can live with assurance all the time, no matter what kind of crisis you're going through. And for this very special series, we are joined by a very special guest, and that is Pastor Massiel Davila-Ferrer. How are you?
I'm so excited to be here, Pastor Elizabeth. Thank you for the invitation to this little Canadian girl to come and join you here.
We are very excited. You are a deep student of the Bible.
I am a lover of the Bible, an ongoing student.
There you go. We all are. Yeah. And thank you for coming to be with us through the whole series.
Yes.
And I actually love the topic of the battle is the Lord's. And it's very interesting because almost in every battle, we get a sentence like that. Yes. Don't forget that the battle is the Lord's. Yes. The battle is the Lord's.
So, just to remember, you're human, I'm the Lord, I've got this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so this helps us in two different levels. Spiritually, for our salvation, so that we can live with the joy and assurance of our salvation, because the battle is the Lord's.
Yes.
But also it helps us for our daily battles, right? I mean, we all go through battles.
And battles, you have a sense that it's hard, and so it's okay to have these hard moments in your life because the Scripture speaks to them.
Yeah, we do have battles. And at that moment, surrendering to a power greater than yourself, that God is actually in charge of this. It's like, okay, we can breathe, right?
It feels hard, but it's okay. He's got me.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. So when I was studying over the years battles, I realized that all the battles that God's people are going to go through, they're very illogical in the Bible. They're not like, okay, get your sword and go fight.
Yes.
No, they were strange things.
Yes.
Right?
Hide here. Use this trumpet. It's nothing makes sense. And
exactly.
Nothing's the same.
And the walls will fall. The sea will part. And so God was trying to tell them that this is my doing.
Yes.
You know, and so they're what I call metaphors of salvation. In every battle, God was reminding them, I am in charge.
Yes.
I got this. You are mine, and I'm fighting for you.
And it's such an appropriate metaphor because salvation is so big, and a battle feels big. You picture something dramatic and massive, so you know you can't win that on your own.
Exactly, and that's the point. The battle between good and evil has been won at the cross by Jesus, and that gives us hope, assurance, and allows us to when we have daily battles to say, okay, the same way that I've been saved, that's the same way that this battle is going to go.
That's right. And battles aren't tidy. There's sadness, there's death, and sometimes we need those kinds of ideas to really be able to process what we're going through in our lives.
That's very true. So what I'm very excited about is that we have an artist who has drawn a scene for each one of our programs. And today we have the awesome drawing of Moses and the people that are going to cross the Red Sea. And that's why you're going to see between us all the time a drawing in each battle, right? So we are going to see this drawing several times during our program. And, you know, we see the army far away and Moses saying, okay, cross. And what kind of battle was that, right? No, well, that's a supernatural thing because this battle will become a metaphor of salvation.
Right. And it's so amazing because you see your enemy, but you never had to engage. Like you were saying, it's illogical. Only God could manage this.
That's right. And perhaps you today are in an impossible situation. In this particular battle, Israel will be in an impossible situation. And so today's program is the battle of impossibilities, because most of these battles have to take place inside of us until we surrender to God and say, okay, He's in charge. I'm not going to worry about this, right? So let's go.
Yes.
Exodus 14 is what we're going to study, 14 and 15 today. And please get your Bibles, maybe something to take note. And
all the pens, all the colors.
Yeah, all the colors, just get ready. we are going to start on chapter 14, but before we start, I want to start with my little props here. Here I have a lamb, a Passover lamb. That's why it has red.
Oh,
well,
that hurts my heart. Like,
I'm
so
sorry.
cute and so sad.
Yes, but that was the way they felt.
Yes.
Because in chapter 12 of Exodus, they had to kill a lamb in order to paint the doorposts, and the angel of judgment was coming. And wherever he saw the blood, what did he do?
He passed over.
Passed over. That's why it's called the Passover, right? And so they have seen miracles. They have seen the plagues. They know that their God is powerful. He has done this for them, has delivered them from slavery.
Yes.
They have seen how the power of the blood of the lamb to be passed over. And in the last couple of verses of Exodus 13, we have these visualizations of the presence of God. Exodus 13, 21 and 22, if you want to read it.
Yeah. By day the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light so they could travel by day or night.
Yeah.
Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people.
So they're having visualizations that God is with them.
I know that they're like wandering and it's a very difficult situation, but I wish I had that kind of assurance, like cloud, fire, go this way.
Wouldn't that be great? We know where to go, right?
Yeah.
Well, we would think that has given them enough assurance so that when they're going to encounter a crisis, they will say, okay, God is with us, right? We can see him.
Yes.
But that was not the case.
No.
So let's go. Exodus 14, verse 1, it says, the Lord spoke to Moses saying, tell the sons of Israel, verse 2, to turn back and camp before Pihahiroth, between Migdol and the sea. You shall camp in front of Baal-Zephon, opposite by the sea. What is so strange is that they have already passed this spot.
Yes.
And God says, no, go
back.
Go back.
Go back. Go back with your back to the sea. That is illogical. Here, go back and be more vulnerable. That's what I'm feeling.
Go back to a cul-de-sac, right? You're going to go to a no way out situation. And God placed them there because he was going to teach them something, right?
Can you imagine?
So, I can barely imagine because, they're taking a route and God says, no, go back because, all right, let's keep going. And so, verse 3 says that Pharaoh, God even knows what Pharaoh will think.
Yes.
He will think that they are wandering aimlessly in the wilderness, and the wilderness has shut them in. And God says, I'm going to show who I am.
Yes.
They will know that I am Yahweh, Jehovah. I am Yahweh, right?
And part of what I observe and will see throughout some of the battles, it's not only the confusion and illogical reality for the Israelites, it's also for everybody who observes. Because they're thinking, what kind of God is this? Where is he sending them? Oh, they'll see.
Yeah, they'll see. And God says that at the end of verse 4. He says, the Egyptians will know that I am Yahweh, that I am the Lord. And they did so. So anyways, Pharaoh realizes that he has lost cheap labor after he has mourned his son because he has lost his firstborn.
He goes right away from sorrow to just like a selfishness and wants his life back the way he had it.
Yeah, that's right. And then he says, hey, we got to go after them.
Yeah.
And so he starts... and look at the army he puts together, verse 6 of chapter 14. You want to read it?
Yeah. So he had his chariot made ready and took his army with him. He took 600 of his best chariots, along with all the other chariots of Egypt, with officers over all of them.
Yeah, so he gets his select chariots first. It's like his SWAT team. Yeah. And then he gets all the other chariots. He says, we're going to get these people. So,
let's go.
Of course, it's an impossible situation. Israel is coming out of slavery of hundreds of years. They're not ready for battle. No. And now God has made them go in a place that is impossible. And
Pharaoh has to posture, which is interesting because it's this one thing that he has on them because he has seen the power of God.
Yeah.
But he's like, okay, chariots, is this maybe how I can win?
Exactly. And when the people who had seen all these big things see, then they are terrified.
Terrified is so like hysterical.
They're like crazy, fearful.
Yes.
And because it's an impossibility for them. And perhaps today you are in an impossibility and you're saying, this is the way I'm feeling too. So verse 9, Do you want to read it?
Yes. The Egyptians, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, horsemen and troops, pursued the Israelites and overtook them as they camped by the sea near Pi-Hahiroth and opposite Baal-Zephon.
Okay, so as Pharaoh drew near, verse 10, the sons of Israel looked, and behold, the Egyptians were marching after them, and they became very frightened.
Terrified. Yeah.
So the sons of Israel cried out to the Lord, and they have 3 questions.
Oh, yes.
What are the questions?
Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die?
Yes.
Rhetorical, I think.
Yes, yes.
What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert. So I read, they didn't actually say that.
Yeah.
I think they said, deliver us.
Yeah,
but they forget their own words in their despair and fear.
Yeah. They are sure that they're going to die.
Yes.
Yeah, and maybe you today are in the middle of an impossible situation, and you are fearful, terrified, with panic. And then you get Moses' answer. And so we're going to pause for a moment. We have somebody that is going to help us think on what was Moses thinking at the time. He had seen everything that God had done, and now he has to face this situation. So what would Moses say?
Oh God, my God, Yahweh, the God of Israel, your people. You are the great I am. You are the Holy One who is. You unleashed the plagues upon our oppressors. You snatched us from their hand. We sprinkled blood upon the doorpost, as you told us. You spared our firstborn from the angel of death. You saved us, delivered us. Oh, but now we are trapped. Pharaoh's army is closing in around us. Nowhere to go. The sea looms large ahead of us. No hope in sight. For we have no weapons. We have no training. Your people are terrified. All they see is a watery grave. Years ago, I thought I was headed for the grave when Pharaoh was trying to kill me. I tried to free your people with my own strength. God, you know. I found myself in the dark pit, alone and depressed. It took me 40 years to learn that I don't have to have it all together. That I am not in charge. That it is not about my strength, but yours. That is what you spoke to me from a burning bush. You promised to be with me. You revealed your mighty name. I am who I am. You are a loving God. You heard the cries and saw the suffering of your people. But you did not stop there. You came to do something about it. Now, show your power again, for Pharaoh's sword is upon us. Oh, great Yahweh, creator of heaven and earth, please hear my cry. Only you can save your people from Pharaoh's hand. We are in an impossible situation. Please make a way where there is no way. I will stand by and keep silent, for I know that you will rescue us. Please fight for us. This battle is yours.
I admire Moses so much. Can you imagine? Maybe that's why he had to be 40 years in the desert with the sheep, just to learn to trust God. You know?
I don't think it was very different what he ended up going through again. He's like, I've been here before.
Yeah, exactly. And the truth is, he already was aware that God was with them.
Yes.
The people were all like, "Wow, what are we gonna do?" You know. But he's like, "Okay,
Yeah.
This is what you're going to do. And let's read it. Verses 13 and 14 is probably one of the most important verses for me in the Bible.
Highlight, pay
Yeah,
attention.
exactly. Go ahead.
Moses answered the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance of the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." In your version, it says silent.
Yeah. Yeah.
No
What
problem.
a difficult job description. You need only to be still.
You mean I can't pace back and forth in anxiety? I can't try to fix all of this by myself?
Yeah.
I can't imagine something harder.
Yeah, the Hebrew is means like take your stand and see what the Lord will do. And it's very interesting because there's a play of word in seen, Do not fear, stand by and see the salvation of the Lord. The Egyptians whom you have seen today, you will never see again. So it's like God is saying, okay, you're going to see something new.
Yes.
You're not going to see what you always were seeing before. You're going to now see something new. You're going to see the salvation of the Lord that only the Lord will do for you.
But you need to just pause for a moment. And that applies to us today. Is there something that we are going to see, but we're so busy, we get in our heads. We need to plant ourselves, perhaps be silent, be still, be ready for God to move.
Especially when we are in impossible situations, because we plan, we do this, and then you hear cancer. And you're like, okay, I can't fight that.
Yeah.
Or you hear pandemic.
Yes.
Or you hear, and then when you are in an impossible situation, it's so important that you pause and say, okay, this is bigger than me. I'm just gonna let God do his thing. I'm just gonna trust.
And it's not freeze, it's be still.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
Different.
That's a very, very good observation. Is take your stand and see what I'm gonna do. And of course, a minute later, he says, now go forward, right? Because stand still doesn't mean, okay, freeze there. It means be ready.
Yes, something's coming.
Something's coming and I'm going to do it, says God. And of course, you know what happens. Verse 16, if you want to read it.
Yes. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water so that the Israelites can go through the sea on, come on, preacher, dry ground.
Woo!
Not because mud, dry ground. That is how complete this miracle is going to be.
Exactly. And we go back again to our drawing, which is such an awesome drawing. Here we have Moses, you see the army on the top getting closer, and Moses saying, okay, go. And it's dry land.
With this reassuring look. Probably he's scared too, but he's like, I'm going to trust the Waymaker here.
I actually don't think he was scared anymore. I think Moses, after all these years, he's 80 years old.
Yeah.
I think that's why God had him in the wilderness for 40 years. I think he has learned by now to say, okay, God is going to do his thing and it's going to be so different than what I was expecting, right?
That's good. Yeah. So when I'm 80, I'll get to that level as Moses.
Well, I'm closer than you are to that.
I didn't say it.
So the miracle is there on verses 21 and 22. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord swept the sea back by a strong east wind all night and turned the sea into dry land, so the waters were divided.
I love it. And you observe that when it happens in the scripture. We're going to see that a lot in the episodes to come, that it says the prophetic promise is there, and then watch for the details that are fulfilled. Yeah. And so they crossed on dry land, like he said they were going to do.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the God assuring us ahead of time, right?
Yes.
And of course, you know the story. Pharaoh tried to go in after them, and you would think that by now they realize, they're going into the sea, and it's on dry land. They think, how did this happen? They already realize their God is fighting for them. They still go in.
No problem. We've got chariots. Nothing can go wrong
well,
here.
Of course, we know what happened. And then they realize, on verse 25, if you want to read it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reading from verse 25. He made the wheels of their chariots come off, so they had difficulty driving. And the Egyptians said, let's get away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt. Not let's go after them this time. No. Our cheap labor, it's okay.
That's it. Yeah.
We got to get out of here.
But of course, they should have thought about that a little earlier.
Yes.
And they all perished. They were fighting against God, not against them. And it's interesting because verse 30 and 31 has how this ended, exactly like God said it would. Yep. Thus the Lord, and that's the name Yahweh in Hebrew, saved Israel that day from the land of the Egyptians. And Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore.
Mercy.
And when Israel saw the great power which the Lord had used against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and they believed in the Lord and his servant Moses. And here's the scene again.
Yes.
Remember that he said, the Egyptians you've seen, you're not going to see again.
Yeah.
And you're going to see the salvation. Now they saw the Egyptians dead, and now they saw the great power of
Yes,
God. You know,
yes.
he refocused their eyes.
And while this is like a tragic image, that parallels to salvation, like you were saying before. There is so much grotesque beauty in what we're seeing, because this is how massive the salvation had to be.
This is the conflict between good and evil,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And, you know, we are not used to battles in this culture, but this was their culture. This was a
Yes.
tribal culture. Everybody was fighting everybody. So for them, it wasn't as shocking as
Right.
it is for us.
Yeah.
But in their culture, God manifested himself
Yes,
through the battles
yes.
in a very powerful way.
And helping them see, like, I know that you maybe don't know me yet, but I'm going to show you
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I am mightier than the
Yes.
gods around you.
That was the point.
Yeah.
That was the point. And so we get a redemption song that is one of my favorite songs in the whole Bible. It's in chapter 15. It's called the Song of Moses, but really it's about the Lord.
Yes.
And it has the name of Yahweh more than 10 times, actually 10 times. But it's talking about the different qualities of Yahweh. He's the king, he's a deliverer, he's a warrior. He does all these things
Yes.
for us.
Acknowledging that all that happened had to be from Yahweh.
Yeah. And it talks about his might, his protection, his kingship, his faithfulness, his perpetual kingship. Should we go there?
I want to so bad, because it's beautiful, but
well,
like Big Sister comes and remixes the
yeah,
song.
maybe it's because we're women, but we love the way that at the end of the song, we are told that Moses' sister, Miriam, verse 20, the prophetess,
Yep.
this is the first time we have a woman prophet in the Bible, Aaron's sister, took the timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dancing.
Yes.
And my first question is, who packs a
Who
timbrel?
packs it? You know what? Miriam said, you know what? As she's packing late in the night, I'm going to see something I've never seen before. God is going to manifest himself in a way I've never seen before. And without knowing, all the women said, we better pack our tambourine, because we're going to have to sing a new
Here,
song.
everybody is packing timbrels, and when they see it, I have one here.
Yes.
When they see it, they go, wow, this was bigger than anything we
Yes.
expected. We have to celebrate. And they start.
It was just a remix, like a shorter song. I think, sorry, I couldn't help but shake my shoulders.
Yeah,
I'll plant
here's
them.
verse 21. Miriam answered them, sing to the Lord, for he is
Yes.
highly exalted. The horse and his rider he has hurled into the sea.
Yes.
You know, we all should pack our timbrels.
Yes.
And don't let anybody take your timbrel away. Because when we're in impossibilities, we usually say, okay, how am I going to get out of this?
Yeah.
And God says, look at the cross. Salvation was impossible for you, and I did it for you. Don't you think that I can also help you in this particular impossible situation?
And they go from their backs to the sea, no way out, to having a new song.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing?
Amazing.
I love your comment. So one of the things I love about this is the fact that this is not the last time we see Exodus in the Bible. We always think, okay, it ends in the book of Exodus. But no, the story of the Exodus will become a metaphor for salvation for the rest of the Bible, because God was teaching them something deeper than simply crossing the sea.
Yes. Yeah.
And one of the places where the word Exodus is used is in Luke chapter 15. You might not, chapter 9, I'm sorry. Chapter 9. And you might not see it at first sight, but we're going to show it to you, and I'm so excited about that. Luke chapter 9 is the transfiguration account, when God sends Moses and Elijah to have a supernatural encounter with Jesus, who is about to die. And here we get the word Exodus. So let's go for it. Chapter 9, verse 30 and 31.
Two men, Moses and Elijah, appeared in glorious splendor, talking with Jesus. They spoke about his departure, which he was about to bring to fulfillment at Jerusalem.
And so maybe your Bible says departure, mine says departure too, some say exit, some say death. But did you know
Tell
that
us. I'm going to underline it and
yes,
write
actually
it
I have
down.
the Greek interlinear. The interlinear means that it has the Greek and the literal English under it. And I want you to see what is the word there in Luke chapter 9, verse 31, because it's a very important word for us. Chapter 9 of Luke, the same one that we just read, but now I'm going to show you on the screen the Greek. chapter 9, verse 31. Who having appeared in glory, they were speaking of the exodus of him, which he was about to fulfill in Jerusalem. That's the word that Luke used. Yes, exodus means exit and all of that, but this is a big word for Israel. Luke says, let me tell you, Jesus was going to accomplish the real exodus at the cross. Not,
And
yeah, go ahead.
That's amazing because you hear the word and your mind is supposed to go, Exodus.
Yes.
Like that is how continuous the story is, that Jesus even follows through that for our salvation.
And throughout the Bible, then Exodus would now mean God will make a way where there is no way. And this is not the last time. We don't have time to go over the whole thing, but if you go to the book of Revelation, chapter 15, this song of Moses appears again in chapter 15 of Revelation, and we are told this is the song of Moses and the Lamb, which means that now we are praising God for making a way on our salvation when there was no way. Isn't it beautiful?
I can't wait. I can't wait to sing on
it.
key.
That's right. That's right. So for this particular battle of the Battle of Impossibilities, I want to show you something that somebody told me once. The word impossible looks and feels impossible. But somebody said, did you know that God tells you, put an apostrophe between the I and the M, and you're going to read, I am possible. I'm possible. Because God makes the impossibility, it makes it possible. And he says, it's possible because it's me, because I do things in a different way. And that's how I got your salvation.
Back to the sea.
Back to the sea. Exactly.
Egyptian army, possible. Chariots, possible.
Salvation, possible because only I made it possible. So the Lord fights for us. He has fought for us at the cross. He has won. So maybe you can trust him with your impossible battles. What do you think, Massiel?
It's going to take a minute of standing still and letting go, but I want that way out. I want it out.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I want it too. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm going to head to the cross where I want to finish. Just reminding us of this amazing topic, the topic of the Battle of Impossibilities, and the fact that our salvation was impossible, and God made a way where there was no way. That's why it was called the Exodus of Jesus. And I can imagine Moses and Elijah talking to Jesus, and Moses saying, I was there in the original Exodus, and I saw the faces of the people coming out of slavery from Egypt, but you are about to do the main thing. You are going to achieve freedom from sin for these people. You're going to open up reconciliation between God and us. So hang in there, Jesus, because you're about to accomplish the real Exodus. So next time that you think about this story of the Exodus and you see the parting of the sea, whether it's in our drawing or other drawings, remember, God makes a way where there is no way. So take your stand and see the salvation of the Lord, because he makes the impossible possible. That's why you can be assured of your salvation, because he made a way where there was no way. And may that encourage you for your daily battles, because the battle is the Lord's. Never forget that.